I'm going to call the meeting to order. I'm going to read the script for remotely conducting. Do I have to read the whole thing? Introduction to meeting. This is Wednesday, June 17th, meeting of the Personnel Committee. As a preliminary matter, please note that this meeting is being recorded and that some attendees are participating by video conference. Accordingly, please be aware that other folks may be able to see you. Take care not to screen share your computer. Anything that you broadcast may be captured by the recording. Confirm member access. This is Claire Pond, Chair of the Personnel Committee. Permit me to confirm that all members and persons anticipated on the agenda are present and can hear me prior to me calling the meeting to order. Members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Susan Terrian.
Present.
Tom Bradley. Didn't make it. Staff, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Margaret Nardowitz.
That's me. Yes.
Mary Arata.
Present.
Anticipated speakers on the agenda, please respond in the affirmative. Did we know if the gentleman from COA was coming or not coming? You had mentioned something about.
Oh, I just wanted to give an update on the COA
Good. Okay,
director
that's
hiring
fine.
process.
Okay. With a quorum of the committee present, I call this meeting to order at 6:35 p.m. on Wednesday, June 17th. This open meeting of the Personnel Committee is being conducted remotely, consistent with the Governor Baker's executive order of March 12 due to the current state of emergency in the Commonwealth due to the outbreak of the COVID-19 virus. Specific information and the general guidelines for remote participation by members of the public and/or parties with a right and/or requirement to attend this meeting can be found on the Town of Berlin website at www.townofberlin.com. In order to mitigate the transmission of the COVID-19 virus, we have been advised and directed by the Commonwealth to suspend public gatherings, and as such, the governor's order suspends the requirement of the open meeting law to have all meetings in a publicly accessible physical location. Further, all members of public bodies are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. The order allows public bodies to meet entirely remotely, provided reasonable public access is afforded so the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. While no in-person attendance of members of the public is permitted, every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings in real time via technological means. In the event that we are unable to do so, despite best efforts, we will post on the town's website an audio or video recording, transcript, or other comprehensive record of proceedings as soon as possible after the meeting. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. The standard public comment portion of this meeting will accommodate limited public comment. For this meeting, the Personnel Committee is convening using the Zoom platform as posted on the agenda, identifying how the public may join. The public is encouraged to follow along during this meeting using the posted agenda unless I note otherwise. Supporting documents, materials that are available this evening to members of the Personnel Committee can be made available to the public by request. We are now turning to the first item on the agenda. Before we do so, permit me to cover some ground rules for effective and clear conduct of our business and to ensure accurate meeting minutes. I will introduce each speaker on the agenda. After they conclude their remarks, I will invite each board member by name to provide any comment, questions, motions. Please hold your name until your name is called. We don't have any speakers on the agenda other than the town administrator. let's see. Please remember to mute your phone or computer when you are not speaking. Please remember to speak clearly and in a way that helps generate accurate minutes. For any response, please wait until I yield the floor to you and state your name before speaking. If members wish to engage in conversation with each other, please do so through me, taking care to identify yourself. To the extent that our technical capability allows, public comment will be permitted during the public comment portion of this meeting. Attendees' phones and other devices will be muted unless and until they raise their hand. I ask each member of the public who wishes to speak to identify their name, and I will afford each speaker time to ask a question or make a brief comment. Finally, each vote taken in this meeting will be conducted by roll call vote. So given that, we'll open the meeting, and the agenda starts with the minutes, which I sent out prior to the meeting. I'd like to request discussion of the minutes and possible approval.
I make a motion to approve as written.
I second it. All those in favor? Claire says aye.
Sue says aye.
Okay, the minutes approved. And then the next item on the agenda was positions, PAFs, position reviews, advertising, position vacancies. So I hand the meeting over to Margaret.
Uh-oh. Is Margaret mute?
I muted myself.
There you go.
Sometimes that's a good thing. Most of the time, that's a good thing. I emailed you the personnel action form for Lisa
Yep.
Betcher, 1870. So that just needs your approval. It's got all the sign-offs on it now. I had signed under line 3, which was town administrator or board of selectmen. It was appointing authority, but I sent it off to Chris. The board had already approved hiring her, so Chris signed
Okay.
off. It just needs your signature.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion that we approve this.
Second that.
Any discussion, Sue, at all? Anything that you can think of?
What is her start date?
She just started Monday.
She did start.
Just started June
Good,
15th.
good.
Yes,
Right.
and she is very gung-ho. She is ready to get that building up and running.
Beautiful. So with the motion made and seconded, all those in favor, aye. Claire Pond, I approve.
Sue, aye.
And Sue approves. Great. So the PAI is approved by the Personnel Committee.
Thank you. And Mary, I'll get you a copy of that for your file in the board's office.
Okay.
All right. The next item, was there any other position vacancies or anything?
No, just there's that application for the COA van driver. We could talk about that in a moment. So that's that position has been advertised for quite a while. So there's one applicant.
Okay.
And I know COA wants to get going on that. So.
Great. All right. Let's see. So do we want to talk about the COA van driver now?
Oh, if you'd like to take that up first, yes.
Okay.
All right, so the application came in May, and as you know, we've been without a COA director. Victoria is in the hiring, not the hiring, the pre-employment process now. So she's going to be going for her pre-employment medical, and her scheduled start date is July 9th.
Okay.
So right now, the van is not running. I mean, we have a few different issues, but both related to COVID-19. So the current van driver, was potentially exposed to COVID-19. One of her passengers was diagnosed with COVID-19, and she's been legitimately afraid of driving. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to put all the COVID-19 protocols in place to get the van the van service up and running safely. But I don't want to rush that. And I also I don't really want a new van driver. I don't feel it's that appropriate to have a new van driver hired right before their supervisor is hired. The timing is a little,
Yep.
I understand the demand on the service, but at the same time, I want Victoria as the, as the supervisor to be sure that she's got things in order and she's able to supervise her employees, appropriately.
Right.
So
Right. Yep.
that's the thing. But the report was really supposed to be on the COA director hire, and so there I've updated you on that. We're really pleased. She's an extremely intelligent person, and she's got great ideas. Yeah, I mean, Sue, you saw that in the
Yes,
preliminary
absolutely.
interviews. She performed the same in the board's interviews. She can really take the Council on Aging somewhere. So she when she starts, you were going to have to be sure that she's mentored appropriately, and that she has our full support. And so I'll be there to support her and make sure that
Great.
she's able to get her feet wet and be comfortable in the position.
Beautiful.
Sue, your thoughts?
I just have one thing, and I'm sorry to revert back to the van driver. I just would really like to be sure that all protocol is followed before that van starts. It makes me a little uncomfortable to have a definite date being posted on when it's going to start again. We have no idea if we're going to stay in this phase, if the next phase is going to be delayed.
Yep.
And to put a date out and start taking reservations just kind of makes me worried. And to have, we need to wait for Dave to get that sprayer. We need to do everything according to protocol.
What's that, Sue? What's that?
There was a holdup. Dave's looking for some automatic sprayers that they have out, like in the buses,
Oh, okay.
afterwards, and it's just coming slowly.
Yeah.
They're backlogged.
Right. And there's some suggestions at the meeting that there are other things that could cover that. And I just feel, for protection of our employees, we need to follow protocol very closely.
Yeah. And for riders too. Yeah.
For riders also.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I don't want anybody get sick, but I just hate to see the fact, we're going to push it and make sure it's this date. I'd really like to see them wait for Victoria to come on and start it after Victoria gets it.
Yeah, I have to say I agree. I agree with that. Yeah. She'd be able to be there to make sure. I mean, even if she can't do the training because she's brand new,
Right.
we can assist her with the training. We have our own employees coming back a full week before we even take in-office appointments. And that full week is to go through training, look at posters, follow signs and protocols, and just kind of get the lay of the land for this reopening. And so, a jumpstart date for service would be really hard. So yeah, I'm in agreement with that for safety reasons. Yeah.
So has Victoria interviewed that person? Did you say that she had?
No. The person hasn't interviewed yet. I think the COA wanted to move forward with interviews. Again,
But you want to wait till Victoria's on board.
Yeah, I'd like her to participate in that part of the process to,
right.
Kind of reinforce what her position is as a supervisor.
Right. I'm in agreement with that. I think is that what was it?
I think the COA, I mean, they didn't make any set plans for that. I know they're just, they're itching to get the van up and running, but they didn't go ahead and schedule interviews and things. I know they talked about it a little bit, doing interviews. Maybe there are things we can start with, but nothing's set in stone at the moment.
Okay. All right. Good. So she's starting July 9th. That's great. Beautiful.
Yes.
So you, on the interview, when you were talking about the van driver interviews, were you looking for an approval or a vote from this committee, or just some support for, yeah,
Maybe just support. I don't know, Sue, do you think there's anything that's,
We need to have a vote. I think it's just
right,
an approval that this person should be interviewed by the supervisor. And like Margaret said, I'd hate to
Yep.
see the driver hired before her supervisor is.
yeah, yeah. So I'll make a motion that we support that process, that that Victoria be included in the interview process with with any van drivers that are being interviewed.
Well, I'll second that. Hopefully that will help Margaret. I'll
Yeah,
second.
Thank
and all those in favor, Claire Pond says aye.
Sue, aye.
Okay,
okay. I think there are a few things that we could actually do before she officially starts, like put the interview questions together, you know, some simple things
Yeah.
that we can
Right.
prepare for it.
yep.
Okay.
Let's see. Okay. The next thing on the agenda was the HR consultant update.
Yeah, she has 2 other consultants with her working on all the updates. I think I reported at your last meeting that we're
Yes, you
looking at
did.
getting the draft reports in July. We'll have a
Yep.
month to review them. So
Yep.
nothing has changed there. She's
Okay,
still on
great.
track.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, she has given us, I keep asking her for other information. Chief wanted to do a standard operating guideline for harassment in his own department.
Yeah.
And so I said, okay, you know, that's wonderful, because our harassment policy needs a little work, and I know Sandy's working on it. So I asked Sandy if I could forward his SOG to her for her to look at. And she's going to do that on Monday to make sure it's not going to conflict with what the towns will be. So everything will be aligned.
Oh,
So
good.
she'll do that. She also, when I had to defend the COA director rate, I think I might have mentioned this to you too, right? The COA director
Yes.
rate.
Yeah.
She sent
yeah.
me that grid, the analysis showing that the starting rate for COA director was far below
Yeah.
the median. So yeah,
Great.
so I've been poking her for little things here and there, but she's working on the big picture stuff.
Beautiful. Good. Okay. So we're right on target with that. And let's see. I really didn't have anything else for the committee. Margaret, do you?
Yeah, the only other thing I wanted to talk about was I asked the board for support the other night, and I said that I was going to bring it to you. This year has been particularly difficult, you know, with COVID-19 and employees being able to take any vacation leave.
Yes.
And
Yep.
so we have several employees that do have vacation leave still on the books. Now, the personnel procedures allow accumulation up to 1.5 times the annual vacation leave accrual
Yep.
rate for each employee. And it allows the limit for using that to be extended for 60 days. There is no provision that I can see in the personnel policies to extend either of those things for this, you know, this kind of extraordinary
Right.
situation,
Yes.
although it does say extenuating circumstances. Well, this
Yeah.
is really a serious extenuating circumstance. And I was wondering if it would be possible. I've gotten almost all employees vacation accruals, the current ones. I know where people stand. And with very few exceptions, these employees, our employees would be able, I would say, would be able to use their excess vacation leave if it was allowed to accumulate up to 2 times the applicable vacation leave on a very temporary basis,
Yeah.
and carried forward for 120 days rather than 60, just for this year only.
Yeah.
And so what I've suggested was, if the personnel committee supports it and the board has already expressed their support, that the authorizations for vacation leave that are outside the parameters of the personnel policy would come with stipulations. this is solely due to COVID-19. This is only for this year. This is what you'd be allowed to carry forward, and you cannot carry it forward
Yep.
for longer than 120 days or whatever date, that may be. So there would be very specific guidelines so as not to set precedent in future years.
Yep.
So I was hoping
And
for
it
the
sounds,
personnel.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it sounds like some of those MMHR things that have been coming through.
Oh, that's where I got the idea, because I
Good,
wasn't, I mean, I
okay.
was thinking about all kinds of other things early on, but seeing those go back and forth, I was like, what do we do? We've got people just, we've had people in, and you can't
Yeah,
go anywhere. Some are essential services.
So have you been getting some of those MMHR things or no?
No,
Okay, so they're from other towns. Basically, they're other town administrators or town folks, writing their requests into all of their colleagues and their peers across all the towns in the state. Like, what are you doing for this? Or what are you doing for that? And a lot of them were writing in about vacation and extending the vacation period of time.
right.
Just like, even though our policies, and we talked about it on our last meeting, extends it for 60 days, that really, it doesn't give them that much time.
I think to extend it, like Margaret said, for 120 is good, but I really do like the stipulations written in there, so we don't get any press going for later.
Right, and I agree with that. So it'd be that they could, it would be 2 times their annual vacation allotment for up to 120 days. They can use it. Is that right?
That is right. That is what I'm asking. And I can actually tell you that the authorizations that I would instruct would include that provision in Chapter 17 for vacation, what it normally allows. And it would also include the section that reads, the approval and timing of vacation shall be determined by the department supervisor with due regard to the wishes of the employee and the needs of town services. It would also include the number of accrued vacation leave hours that will be allowed to be carried forward to FY21, and that any additional accumulated vacation leave must be taken by the end of FY20. We're really running out of time on that, but it would also specify that all vacation leave hours carried forward to FY21 must be used by October 31st, or they will be forfeited. No, not October 31st, September 30th, right? Is that 120 days? 30, July, August, September, October 31st, or they will be forfeited, and specify that the Board of Health, I say Board of Health because I already gave this to the Board of Health, that the authorization for the carryover of vacation leave is granted solely because of COVID-19 declared health emergency that prevented the employee from using some of their accrued vacation leave in the current fiscal year.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'd like to make a motion that we support that for the town, and that we make this an extenuating circumstance, and we increase the amount of annual vacation allotment time to 2 times their annual vacation allotment to be used within 120 days versus 60 days.
And I will second that.
All those in favor? Aye. Sue?
Sue, aye.
Okay, so that's approved, Margaret.
Okay, thank you. And I will provide you with the form of the authorization that I will be asking department heads to issue.
All right, great.
Thank you.
Okay, any other items that you have for this committee?
Oh, well, not for this committee, but others. Thank you.
I know. Margaret, I want to ask you, what's your anniversary date?
July 15th.
Okay.
I hit my 11-month anniversary the other day.
Oh my God, it doesn't.
Time flies.
Oh my word. So it's July 15th. Okay.
July 15th.
All right, great.
Yep.
Anyway. Sue, do you have any other items of business? How's the haying going?
It's lovely. We have 3 loads coming in the next 2 days, so.
Oh, God. Well, anyway, good luck. At least it's not raining at all,
Yeah.
so that's a good
Just
thing.
sit on the beach there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I
so
know,
let's see what other meetings we can get Sue in on in order to stay away
there
from
you
the hay.
go. There
I'm
you
doing
go.
that BP thing tomorrow.
Oh, are you? Oh, you are good.
Oh, you are?
And I already
Oh,
told the kids that if it's tomorrow, I'm busy.
yep, yep. Oh, well,
I-
good. Thank you for going to that. I knew I was going to be down here and I knew I'd miss it. So anyway,
Mary got good response for the MVP, so that'll be interesting. That'll be good.
beautiful.
Mhm.
Good. Um, well, if all business is taken care of, I'd like to make a motion that we adjourn this meeting.
I will second that.
Okay.